Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm back with part 5 of What If Naruto Was Mahoraga Reincarnation. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out What If Naruto Never Stopped Evolving over on Anime King, and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and enjoy and become a part of the Anime King family. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode? Let us begin now guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto was facing off against Orochimaru. The Sannin severed Naruto's right hand and impaled him to a tree. The poison from the blade that Orochimaru hit Naruto with coursed through his veins. As Naruto's body slowly started to adapt to it, his eyes started to spin. That is when the pinwheel in his eyes appeared on his head as some kind of spectral halo. Naruto then took on the aspects of the fox and a cold sensation on the other side of his face, as he then created a skyscraper, a massive vine and thorns of coal and flames coming together when he jumped above it and hit it with all of his might. Luckily, Naruto protects Sakura and Sasuke, as he sent his clones to keep them guarded by, creating a fortress of ice to protect them. However, as for the other members in the forest, countless of them were sent sailing, their bodies being sent all over the place. Yujo ended up protecting her team by tapping into a power source inside of her. Gaara uses sand. Many others were able to escape, but some weren't so lucky, as they were swallowed by the vast amount of destructive chaos power that Naruto had released. In the process, Orochimaru was able to escape by using that special technique of his to emerge from his own mouth. However, the Sannin was humiliated, yes. Never felt such humiliation before, as Naruto had made him run away. The Sannin was furious, having to switch body for a child. He was angry, violent as well. Naruto ended up meeting the fox during that time as well, as he told the beast that he would never use his power again, and he would fight him soon. After all, they both shared the same body, and Naruto was going to prove that he was a stronger one. As much as the fox detested many people, he was actually looking forward to this battle, as it would mean his freedom, and he could not wait. Orochimaru had sent the sound team, but he sent them before he had come across Naruto. So when they did eventually come across him, Naruto gave them one chance, which they failed to listen to. He demolished each and every one of them. Soon after, he made his way. As Sasuke emerged, a quick battle started up between the two. Sasuke wanted to test this new power, but it was still not enough, as Naruto was able to knock him out cold. Sasuke recovered with no memory of what took place. So with that, Team 7 made their way towards the tower. As they arrived there rather quickly, they rested and waited. When the time finally came, it was time for the preliminary exams, as each member started to participate to show what they possess and to show their strength. There was only a few people here that Naruto had his eyes on. That was the red-haired boy and that blonde from Kumo. Her name was Yujito as she went up against Kiba, as she showed why Naruto had great expectations for her by demolishing Kiba rather quickly. Naruto's opponent was a Kumo ninja known as Otsui, as he was no match for Naruto at all. Strength, speed, and everything. He tried his best, using flames, but he stood no chance at all against Naruto. As the finals were set, and Naruto was excited as his opponent was that girl. The girl that he was really looking forward to fight. As Kakashi tried to find someone to train Naruto, but Naruto felt humiliated. After all, the man gave him Ebisu to train him. However, Naruto simply ditched him, not having time to waste with that fool, as he went on about with his own training, actually working on something very productive. That is where he met Jiraiya, realizing that Hiruzen was speaking about this man. However, the man was a tool in Naruto's opinion, and a huge pervert. That was until they fought. Naruto wanted to see just how powerful he was. Jiraiya's strength was something that Naruto respected, despite his goofy attitude, as Naruto did not want to become a summoner though, as he said that the toads were, well, worthless. They were just stupid, flabby, slobby animals, as he did not want to sign the contract. As for Orochimaru, he was humiliated, and it hurted his pride. He realized that boy was a bigger threat than he originally thought, and he couldn't allow him to be that much of a threat in the upcoming exam. So the Sannin was going to do something about it. After another training session with Jiraiya when Naruto came home, when he entered his apartment he could feel that something wasn't completely right about everything. Something was off, yes, he could feel it. As he made his way inside, the entire building erupted in an explosion that awakened Konoha, as everyone rushed toward the scene, and Naruto was dead center in that blast that eviscerated the entire building, countless others inside as well. Kabuto Yakuji was seen watching from a far distance, with a smirk on his face. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought you guys can. Switch across the play for yourself, and also, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs on the other channels. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So yeah, without further ado or wasting any more time, let's begin this now guys. Kabuto Yakuji watched from the shadows, as ninjas after ninjas flocked to the scenes, Anvus as well, believing that this was some great incident. As Kabuto stood there observing, he's never seen his master so dependent on the execution of one person before. Orochimaru just didn't want Naruto dead. It seems like his master wanted the boy to suffer, but doing that and committing to his death would draw too much suspicion, so the best way was just to take him out. He told his master. But Orochimaru wasn't pleased by that. However, Kabuto got the job done. There was no possible way that he would survive that. And with the others in the building as well, it wouldn't look like it was just targeted towards him, Kabuto thought. To think, this boy posed so much of a threat that his master had to order him be taken out, so his invasion plan could go smoothly. He was an impressive child. However, that was no longer the case, Kabuto thought, as he made his way after seeing the Anvus and the Hokage arrive, and nothing to show that the boy was still amongst the living. Not wanting to get caught up in this, knowing that everyone would be seen as a suspect in situations like these, Kabuto descended into the darkness, making his way. Hiruzen Sarutobi landed on the scene as his eyes were wide with shock, as they heard movements in the rubbles. The Anvus quickly flocked to the scene. There was a few people that weren't completely eviscerated by the blast, and luckily they were still amongst the living. However, they had to be rushed to the hospital. The entire building had collapsed down, and Naruto was in that building. Was this a direct target? It has to be, Hiruzen thought. Naruto has been spreading the information, especially about his recent kills, Zabuza and that missing nin from Kumo, putting a target on his own head, and now Hiruzen stepped forward when suddenly there was another smaller explosion, courtesy of Naruto exploding out of the rubble. As he stepped out, his clothing was burnt and torn, barely covering his modesty, as his right arm was not there anymore. The left side of his face had been completely wiped away as blood ran down. He stepped forward, his side was gouged out by the blast. There was a huge pipe in his chest that had been thrown in the explosion. Naruto gripped the pipe with his one hand and ripped it out. His other arm regrew. His skull, his skin, his flesh regenerated on his face as Naruto stretched, brushing the dust off himself, standing there rather casually as he looked towards the destroyed building. The envoys were shocked. The ninjas were shocked. Hiruzen was shocked as well, knowing that Naruto possessed a strong regeneration ability, but that was on a completely another level than he expected. Hiruzen stepped over the rubble and stepped towards Naruto. "Are you alright?" he asked. "I'm fine," said Naruto as he looked at his building. "However, I'm going to hunt down who did this, and I'm going to enjoy ripping them limb from limb." Time skip. Kabuto felt ashamed. Orochimaru had just done chewed him out. He failed. He should have waited longer, but he left with a great satisfaction that he got the mission done. And now Orochimaru was disappointed. It wasn't pleasant to be around his master when he was disappointed. However, the Sannin would not let one thing keep him down. However, this boy would be a true hassle in his path with the one-tailed Jinchuriki, because he knew. He saw it with his own eyes. This boy lusts for danger and battle. He would go straight for the one-tails. He snapped his head towards Kabuto. "Bring her here. Change of plans. She's coming." "But sir, I said, go get her," Orochimaru said, as Kabuto kept his mouth shut and made his way. As he was going for someone to help with the invasion, the Sannin had wanted to keep her out of trouble way. After all, he had desired to take her body as his own, but he needed her now, and her crew as well. She had recently handpicked a select few of them. They show extraordinary strength and growth for the coming future, and this will be one of their tests to hunt down and kill Naruto Uzumaki. He will not get in the way of the invasion, Orochimaru thought. Time skip. The Hokage and Jiraiya were more than generous to help Naruto, seeing that all of his stuff, everything cash, everything was gone up in flames. Naruto was more than convinced now that his father was Minato Namikaze. Just from Jiraiya's reaction alone to the man helping him, the man was also persistent on making him a summoner of the toads, but up until now Naruto was still refusing. But the Sannin was not giving up anytime soon. Hiruzen moved Naruto to a secure location despite Naruto's protests of being fine. However, the Hokage knew that other lives would be in jeopardy if someone decided to strike against Naruto once again. So it was best to keep him out of the public eye about his home location for the time being. A few people had been unfortunately taken down during the explosion. Despite having no clear evidence that this was targeted towards Naruto, it was quite obvious, given Naruto's recent popularity spike. The day finally came up, as everyone had their mind on something else now. That was the exam. Well, except for those that lost family during that explosion. But then again, there was only one bedroom apartments in that building. Naruto made his way as he saw the amount of people here. A smirk graced his features. Finally, they will all see just the might that he possessed, Naruto thought. A smirk never leaving his face. While he was there doing that, the Raikage arrived. Yes, this was quite the spectacle. Usually the Raikage did not show up to these kind of events, sending a proxy or something else, but no, there he was, the man of the hour. As he greeted Hiruzen, their greeting was common, nothing too lengthy between them. The man sat down, two of his guards sitting behind him. One of them was a man known as Darui, and another one known as C. They were a bit young to be his guards. However, age had nothing to do with it. It was their talents. They were in their later teens though, so that should show you how powerful they were to be guarding the Raikage himself. Yes, that should show you. As Naruto made his way out there, seeing the spectacle as the people started to gather, he paused as he turned to see the two girls from Kumo. He defeated the other blonde boy, so he wasn't going to be here. Yujito stopped in front of Naruto, Samui stopping by her side. From that look in your eyes, I can tell that you're ready, said Naruto. I hope you train a lot in this month. I hope you've been preparing yourself. After all, I did fight your teammate. He should have told you a bit about my fighting style. Allowing your enemy to have information like that is not a good thing. You do know that, right? Well, it's not a good thing for others, but me on the other hand, I'm a different kind of monster, said Naruto. And I can tell that you are one as well, he said, looking her dead in the eyes. I hope you don't hold back during this battle. After all, I want to fight you at your best, and I can tell you're a proud kunoichi that would not settle for any less, so I'm going to bring all I have as well. If we die, we die, Naruto said, as he was truly looking forward to this battle. His attitude was actually affecting Yujito. She also loved to fight as well, but it was more her testing herself against strong opponents. It was linked to her pride, her drive to be the strongest, her constant evolution and growth. After all, for the most part of her life, she was in a program to learn how to control the power inside of her. That is why she was on this team. That is why, in less than 2 weeks, she was going to be promoted to Chunin. And in less than a month after that, she would be promoted to Jonin. Her level of skills was much higher than Genin, but she was going through the proper channels. She's only been at Genin for a short amount of time, and she will be promoted very soon. She supposed that this should be her spectacle. As she stepped forward, a smile graced her features. Out of all the other Konoha ninjas participating in the exam, you're the greatest threat. Not the Hyuga, not the Uchiha. I've seen that with my own eyes. And I'm glad that I'm your opponent, because I would not settle for any less. She leaned over and whispered in his ear. And if you think that I would be holding back against you, you're sadly mistaken. So if it's a fight to the death you desire, well then, let's see who dies first. A grin crossed Naruto's face wider than it originally was. He seemed so happy. Samui looked at the both of them. They both seemed crazy at the moment, she thought. She gazed up as she saw her brother within the crowd, along with a few other Kumo representatives. Her brother wanted to be down here, but he failed. The moment he spotted her, his sweat dropped as she was giving him a thumbs down, caused him to curse at her mentally. It seems like our competitors are ready to go, Hiruzen said. The Raikage followed his gaze. Yes, it seems that way, he said, seeing Yujito square off against this boy. Konoha did not know everything, especially about her, so if they believed that boy was going to come out on top, well, They were gravely mistaken. However, Kumo did not know everything as well, and they will find out soon enough. As the exam started up, Harrison got to his feet and gave a powerful speech that made everyone a bit more excited than they originally were, and it was time that they get the show to begin, as the people were at the edge of their seat, pumping with overflowing excitement. The first match was Shikamaru's name was called. As he was really over this, you could see how much he didn't want it to fight. The people actually started to boo when he started to show just how lazy he was. However, he got his head in the game as Temari was not playing around. This match lasted for about 1 hour and 40 minutes. At the end of it, Shikamaru was exhausted mentally after using his brain so much. He could have pulled off the win, but in the end, his chakra ran out, and he was out. He gave up. He might have not won the battle, but the judges there, those that would put in their word for what they saw, they were rather proud of his battle IQ and his overall IQ as well. The Naras, always with their mind, the Raikage said, not giving much for his, input on the situation, that was all. Hiruzen simply smiled at the growing generation. The next match was Samui versus Shino. Yujito looked towards her and gave her a nod. As Samui nodded back and made her way down there, she gazed up when she entered the arena. She saw Atsui, giving her a smile and a thumbs up, as she gave him one back before she dropped it to a thumbs down, causing him to seethe with anger, as it made her smile slightly. She made her way as Shino stepped out as well. Neither of them were much for words as they were calm and collected. However, as the battle started up, Shino went on the defenses, using his bugs because she went straight in for the slaughter. Just like her brother, she possessed a fire affinity, but she also possessed a lightning affinity as well. She was fast. Shino had to be on his toes. The problem was, she was also incredibly smart as well. She knew about him, his bugs, the Nara clan. She did as much research as she possibly can to find out everything, which caused her to use a defensive technique, but in a way to make sure that she would never lose. She released a high quantity of fire chakra around her body before allowing it to wash over her like a wave. It was known as the Fire Dome, a defensive technique. However, she pulled it so close that she was in risk of burning her own self. But she kept it perfectly. It did not go overboard. The Raikage smirked when he saw that. She ensured that there was no bugs. Shino had to start to assault at front when she came at him, using a kunai, but the problem was, the moment she unsheathed that blade, she outpaced him. Her kinjutsu was on another level than what Shino was used to, as he got sliced. However, he used his bugs as a substitution to get out of there. Their battle started to get even more heated as she started to rain techniques after him, forcing Shino to go more on the defensive. He was trying to get at her using his bugs to drain her chakra, but that wasn't a possibility at the moment, as she proved to be the superior fighter by focusing on strategies instead of running in. The moment she got him once again, Shino was out. Her speed and strength was able to overcome his attacks, as she burned and electrocuted some of his bugs. However, she did not emerge from this unscathed either. At the end of the match, as she was declared the victor, she looked rather proud to have fought Shino, as she respected his tactics. Shino didn't have the physical strength or the speed to match her, but he was kept in the game because of his mind. She looked at him with a smile. cool fight, she said. Shino nodded at her as he lay on the ground. Sasuke and Kakashi arrived. As Naruto stood there looking down at him, looking rather cocky as he did. Kakashi making his way to the stands as Sasuke made his way to the top. Naruto looked at him. It doesn't seem like you've changed that much. Sasuke looked right into Naruto's face with a grin. You have no idea what I've been up to, or how strong I've gotten. I'll see you at the finals. Hope you don't let she beat you, Sasuke said. Ha! Oh, don't worry. I'll be at the finals. It is just up to you to keep up. Are you two done with their little love session? She said, stepping up towards them. Because if you haven't noticed, it is our turn. Ha! You're funny as well. You know, given your wild and crazy attitude that almost seems similar to mine in a way. And you also have that lust for battle as well. But you keep yours a bit more contained than mine, faking to prove yourself above it. But let's just be honest, you just want to fight most times. It makes me happy. I feel like it makes you happy as well. Seems like we're more similar than I originally thought. Well then, ladies first, Naruto said. Why thank you, she said, stepping past him. I hope you feel the same way when I defeat you. Oh, don't worry, I'm nothing like Kiba. I could tell from the moment I saw you that you were strong. And you're deserving of the praise that you receive for your strength. So let us see if you can keep up with me. As the both of them made their way down there, Naruto's eyes were closed as he was smirking the entire time. On top of the roof was Jiraiya, watching what was going on. The kid was refusing to sign the Toad summoning contract, but Jiraiya was getting him down, he could tell. And soon enough he would become the next Toad summoner. However, Naruto's attitude might not play well with the Toads. So Jiraiya had to fix that to make sure that Naruto was more respectful than he always is, because, well, he tend to have a really hard to get personality. You had to really, well, care for him most times than not. Strangle him with a pillow or something. As the two faced off down there, the Raikage seemed to be rather talkative about Yujo coming out on top. In the stands, everyone was wanting to see how this one play out. It was because of Naruto's rise in popularity with him, telling people that he was the one that has done so much already, so yes, it was causing a lot. So everyone was excited to see this match play out. As the proctor said begin, neither of them moved. They simply looked at each other, their gaze fixated on one another, not blinking as the wind blew by. The moment the both of them twitched, it seemed to be over. Yujo cleared the distance behind Naruto. Yes, she was behind him. The populace was shocked. There was no way that that girl was a genin. Her speed, that was Jonin level speed, they thought to themselves, those that knew more about your average ninja. She was behind Naruto, her nails extended, and these weren't any normal nails, given how they rip through solid concrete. If they were to slash through Naruto's back, he would be in a whirl of agony right now, as her hand descended upon him, as Naruto spun and blocked it, showing that his speed was nothing to joke over either. Her nail grind against the spear that came from his wrist. A smile crossed their features as they moved. Their speed was immaculate. They clashed all over the arena, violently. The Raikage remembered the report that he received from them about this boy, and they were right. It wasn't the Hyuga. It wasn't the Uchiha that was a threat. It was this boy here. He was keeping up with Yujito's speed. The Raikage knew that wasn't her fullest, but still for him to be moving at this rate and actively fighting her. However, Yujito seemed to get the one up on him. Naruto was sent to the wall, but he spun, and landing on it, he kicked off with so much force that the wall was cratered in. He slammed against her nails and broke through them. She was shocked. However, she regrew them almost immediately and slashed across his face, causing him to be distracted by the pain. She then spun and slammed her heel across his head. She moved before he could drop. She jumped in the air before she slammed her heel down in his back, slamming him to the ground. Blazing through hand signs, she released a powerful flame attack down on him that consumed the area. However, Naruto burst through it like a rocket, seemingly absorbing all the hits that he took so far because there was no way that he could get up after that so easily. He sent her into the sky because she was not expecting that. His fist to her got launched in the air. Naruto did what he did like when he fought Zabuza and the others. He stepped on the goddamn ear with so much force. He literally pushed off so hard that he bested the speed that she was moving at. She turned as Naruto sent her to the ground. Luckily, she flipped and landed. She brought the hand up to her mouth as blood dripped from it. Boom! He crashed to the ground, cratering it rather largely. "Is that all you got?" said Naruto. "Come on, I thought we said that we weren't going to hold back." "I guess you're right," she said. "I did say that," as she blazed through hand sign. Fire style. Raining mouse of death. She released strange blue mouses that rushed towards Naruto made from complete flames. Naruto tried to bypass them, but suddenly they made a strange sound before they exploded. And these flames were a containment of sort, because the moment they interacted with one another, they grew larger and larger and larger, with Naruto in the dead center of it. They consume one another in a violent inferno, eviscerating and swallowing everything inside of it. Everyone held their breath, believing that it was done. This girl was a monster amongst monsters. If she was this strong at this age, just imagine. As I told you before the match began, Hokage Dano the Raikage said. There was a proud tone in his voice. This match was Yujito's. I wouldn't count Naruto out just yet. Hiruzen said. He always surprises people. Do you really think that he would? The Raikage was silent, as laughter could be heard as Naruto exploded out of the flames. His shirt was destroyed. Luckily his pants was still intact, but the bottom part were burned. It stopped below his knee though. His sandals weren't even on his feet anymore. The pinwheel in his eye was turning as the flames licked at his skin as they regenerated. Now that's what I'm talking about, said Naruto. She looked at him a bit surprised. I thought you understand just what you were up against. Why do you look so shocked? It seems I might have misunderstood you, underestimate you even more. But now that I know that, you can take it, I suppose. I'll have to truly give you all I got, she said. She transitioned with a speed that shocked everyone. Her speed seemed to have doubled. However, the more shocking part was when Naruto grabbed her wrists. Oh, I understand it now, he said. That's not gonna work again. He slapped her hand away before delivering a brutal combo that left her gasping. She crashed into the stadium wall with a force unlike any other before. She collapsed down to her knees. Impossible, she said. The moment she looked up, Naruto's feet slammed across her head so hard. She felt like her brain was shaking and rattling in her skull. Naruto bypassed the speed that she was moving at and crashed in her back before grabbing her leg. He spun her and threw her. He then slammed his hand down as His body became so cold as ice raced towards her. They slammed into her, multiple shards of ice. As they yanked her down, Naruto then jumped and came down with a mighty amount of force. Boom! The entire arena shook vigorously. The place was quiet. Not a word was said. Throughout this whole thing, the Kazekage had been there as well. He arrived before. Yes, he arrived before the Raikage. The Raikage being here was something that the Kazekage did not count on because that was not the Kazekage. Hiruzen had been keeping an eye on him because the Kazekage had been truly quiet, so much so that Hiruzen actually forgot that he was here. However, Naruto's latest stunt, Hiruzen saw the movement from the man. Even he was shocked. Samui was looking down for her friend's safety. Atsui looked rather worried. That was bad. Extremely so. However, the one that was thrown away was Naruto. Naruto slammed into the wall. His right arm was not there. It was completely singed off. There was a gaping hole through his stomach as he lied against the wall, broken and battered. Confusion marred the people's face as they didn't quite understand what the hell just happened. That is when they saw blue tails. Immediately, Hiruzen got to his feet. As the Anvu standing by, they were at the edge of the arena. The Raikage immediately spoke up. There's no need to worry. She's fully under control. Hiruzen looked back at the man. However, the proctor jumped down in between them, realizing that it was over for the young boy. He was about to call the match. What the hell are you doing? He paused as he turned to see Naruto back on his feet without a scratch. This isn't over. This is far from over. Get out of here. Jinma looked towards Naruto. Are you serious about this? Do you see what you're up against? There's no shame in giving up. I said get the hell out of here. She's mine, said Naruto. Jinma moved back allowing the match, as Hiruzen questioned the Raikage if she was truly under control, which the man confirmed and would take any liable damage out of this arena on himself. As Naruto was more than willing to waive all rights to get out of here right here and now, because he wanted to fight more than ever. Hiruzen looked down a bit worried, but the match was in full legal ways because Naruto was also a Jinchuriki as well. Not that many people know about that, as Naruto did not tend to use that power that much, while the citizens knew it wasn't a public information for the rest of the world. Yujito was fully transformed. You wanted to see what I can do? Well, this is it, she said. Her voice sounds so dark and powerful. This is what her training had concluded. At the age that she was at, she was able to wield the power of the two tails, granted. She could only do it 4 or 5 minutes in this form. She has been training from she was 3 years old, so no one should be surprised that she was able to wield such a massive amount of chakra. The two tails, on the other hand, the beast, was much more subdued than the other tail beasts. There wasn't a relationship between the two, but she simply learned how to control the power, and because of the seal that was placed on her, she had more access. And the two tail did not mind as long as they did not forcefully extract that much of her power. So yes, now you had a Jinchuriki with full control that was about to demolish Naruto. That is what everyone believed, as Sakura was terrified. Naruto was done for. Many of them thought he should give up. However, Naruto started to laugh. Many were shocked, as some of them could not describe it, that they felt like cheering the kid on. In face of such danger, he laughed. He laughed in the face of death itself. Yes, he was laughing. It seemed rather shocking to most, as Jiraiya was on standby just in case. But he truly wondered, had he really underestimated the kid that much? Could he really face off against a Jinchuriki and come out on top? Especially an in-control Jinchuriki. Yujo leapt as she rained fire from her mouth like she was a goddamn dragon. Blue flames coming down in a large quantity. The main makeup of the Two-Tails body was a flamey aspect with a two set of different color eyes. The flames rained down on Naruto as he stood there. The pinwheel in his eye fully turned as Naruto used his blade and knocked away the flames, completely dissipating them. I understand it now, said Naruto. He thrust forward. The beast lashed out its tails. They clashed with Naruto as they fought in mid-air, struggling to push him back as Naruto fought against them with a great ferocity. He leapt down before landing on his feet. He dashed forward and went under the beast. Its paw came crushing down on him as Naruto caught it. With an obscene amount of strength, Naruto gripped into it. It was supposed to be burning him, and yet he gripped into it and yanked the leg, causing the thing to tumble over. Naruto then flipped and came down. He dropped his fist in the thing's gut. The ground underneath it went down the floor. However, the thing knocked him away. It rushed forward and hit Naruto with its paw, sending him through the wall. Naruto burst out of it and attacked. The battle was ferocious and deadly, everyone holding their breaths. Some of them forgetting to goddamn breathe at this battle that was taking place in front of them. Most of them has never witnessed something like this before. How is this possible? The Raikage said out loud. How is that boy keeping up? The Kazekage was silent, which was a really confusing and alarming thing. However, Hiruzen gaze was focused directly on Naruto, and the match that was taking place at the moment. The match seemed to be getting out of hand, but it was quite contained down below. How is he doing this? Yujo said. Because of the time limit and the limit that her body currently had. She wasn't using the full power of the tail beast despite her transforming. If the Two-Tail was to take over right now, this stadium would no longer be here. These people would probably all be dead. However, she had a much more contained dose of this percentage. But still, she was in her tail beast form. How is he keeping up? She crushed him under her paw once again, and again, but each time, he seemed to get stronger. The pinwheel turned as Naruto sent the goddamn tail beast's arm flying. Yujo was shocked as he cut through the arm like it was nothing. Naruto jumped and delivered a punch so hard that it seemed to quake the goddamn ear. His strength was growing, fully adapting to everything taking place. Naruto landed and released an animalistic roar, like a beast himself. His entire body became blue. It was like he was frozen from the inside out. He slammed his hand down. Everyone stepped back as the entire goddamn floor erupted in ice, reaching all the way up, passing the contestants, passing the entire goddamn arena. The Two-Tail was impaled violently all over. The beast howled and ripped itself out, collapsing down, showing blood. Yujo reverted back to normal. Her time was up. As she lay there, the injuries were linked, but her body did not sustain the vital as the tail beast did. She lay there, seemingly out, extremely cold despite what she was a moment ago. Naruto landed down in front of her. How are you this strong? Naruto knelt. I'll let you in on a bit of secret. I'm also a Jinchuriki, he said. Her gaze narrowed towards him. I contain the 9 tails. But something more interesting. I didn't use a speck of the 9 tails power a moment ago. That is how awesome I am, said Naruto. And you have limited yourself because of that transformation, and now, because of your injuries and using up so much power, you can't move. However, this battle was awesome, said Naruto. You pushed me beyond any limits I've ever been pushed before. If I didn't have my regeneration ability, I would be dead right now. And the rush of that was truly amazing, Naruto said. He brought his hand down as he retracted the ice. Naruto helped her to her feet. Why? Why are you doing this, she said. Because I don't want you to die, although I doubt you would. I want to fight you again. This was truly amazing, said Naruto as he picked her up in his arms. She looked at him confused. He brought her and placed her on the stretcher where the medics took her away. As the proctor announced Naruto as the winner, Konoha at that moment seemed to forget everything, as they exploded in cheers, celebrating what they just saw, a match that most of them never thought they would be able to witness. Sasuke was dumbstruck as he stood there. Samui and the others wondered if there was any point, especially Kankuro. I mean, look what he just did. Kankuro gazed over towards his opponent, which was Neji, who was just as shocked as well, unable to fathom what he just witnessed. A few Earth-style users had to wait down and make sure the arena was in proper handling before the other match took place. However, the other match was something that wasn't going to happen because Kankuro gave up as Neji was pushed to the other round. As everyone was talking about one thing and one thing only, and that was Naruto. The Raikage interest in the boy grew at least 10 times, as he couldn't believe what he just watched. The power that boy had at his disposal. It seemed like Naruto even got larger during the match, but his size seemed to have regressed back to normal, but his strength had not diminished one bit. In fact, he had gotten a lot stronger and that strength was still with him. Sasuke was fuming at how much more powerful Naruto got when Naruto slapped him on the back. I guess it's your turn, said Naruto as he sat down. He expended a lot of power during that match, constant regenerating and his power using. Naruto lay on the ground. He did not like to show weakness, but he lay on the ground, taking a few deep breaths. Another part of the reason why he respected that girl so much. However, during the battle he could tell that the tail beast form was not at its full power. If he would guess, he would say 30 to 40%. That meant there was a whole nother larger percentage that she could use against him in their future battle. And he could not wait. He was excited. Orochimaru was rethinking the action of the plan that he put in place. But there wasn't much that he could do about it right now. That is why he told them to kill. Not hesitate, kill. Go for the direct kill, nothing else. Nothing more, just kill. A drawn-out battle with this individual would lead to all of their death. They had to get him alone one-on-one as well. Sasuke decided to show that he was no second filly by fighting Gaara at his best. However, in the end it led to Gaara going completely batshit crazy, losing all composure and releasing that scream that terrified most. Half an hour as Naruto was back on his feet, his chakra replenishing at levels that were truly remarkable. His strength growing exponentially as Naruto clenched his fists and smiled and raised his hands to the heaven. He couldn't wait for more. That is when Naruto felt something strange. What the hell is this? However, he shrugged it off. People started to drop like flies. They were unconscious. Boom! An explosion went off. Another. The tower was filled with purple smoke. What the hell? Naruto said, stepping forward as he saw the other two emerge from the box that they were in. Jumping down, Naruto landed looking around as he saw several people on the ground. Making his way towards the defenseless, unconscious Sakura, he waked her by using his chakra. What's going on? Her eyes widened. Behind you, she said. As a sound shinobi tried to take Naruto's head off, Naruto smiled and slammed his elbow in the man's face, shattering his nose, fracturing his goddamn skull. It seems like the village is being invaded, said Naruto. Why are you smiling, she said. Because I'm going to enjoy beating their ass for believing that they could invade my home, especially with me here. Naruto said, jumping down as he landed in the arena and released a battle cry and jumped directly into the line of fire. He was ripping sound shinobis apart. He was a monster if there ever was one. However, his gaze noticed Sasuke running away. As he realized Sasuke was following the red-haired boy. He was just like that girl. That power. Naruto went after them. Kakashi's gaze focused down below as he saw them, knowing that together they could take on Gaara without any problem, especially after that display that just took place. As he focused on his opponents, as he quickly called over Sakura to get the others to evacuate the people down here. Meanwhile, the Raikage and the others were outside of the dome. The moment Hiruzen had jumped inside, Orochimaru had called the Sound Ninjas. The Raikage told his people to not interfere, as Darui went to get Otsui and the others to get them to safety. Also, the representatives of the financial department of the Land of Lightning. They were quickly brought to safety to make sure that they were safe. Heading to the hospital himself to make sure that Yujito wasn't in any harm. Those ninjas that thought they were brave enough to step to him, they were squashed like flies. But he had no intention of lending a hand to Konoha, just to get his own people to safety at the moment. As for Naruto, as he was about to catch up to the group, smoke filled the area by some canister that landed in front of him as he jumped to the right, not breathing it in as he made his way. Naruto found himself surrounded as strange missiles raced down towards him and exploded, one even going off in his face. They surprised him. Naruto stepped out of the smoke, his face regenerated. "Who the hell are you people?" he said, as they stood in the trees. His eyes focused on each and every one of them. There were a couple of them, 5 in total. A man dressed in all black with a breather over his mouth. He was the one that fired the smoke. A little short white-haired individual with the missile launcher on his hand. A tall, muscular fellow with a weird, dumb-looking face. And a strange, lanky one with a blue bodysuit with pink hair and green eyes and green lipstick. And the last one seemed rather average with mossy green hair and dark eyes. But the last one was a girl. She had blue hair, dark eyes. She was 15 years old and these guys look older, but she seemed to be in charge. "Kill him," she said without hesitation, not about to fail her master. Smoke filled the area once again, but this time Naruto did not move. The large one, Gosu, descended upon Naruto. However, his fist would not reach Naruto in time. But Naruto was surprised when his arm elongated and crushed him into the ground. He held Naruto there. "Do it now," he said as he jumped away. The explosives rained down on Naruto, followed by acid from the strange blue-looking one to melt his bones and blow them to smithereens. However, Naruto burst out of it, rushing to Gozu, who tried to hold him, and he did. He gripped Naruto by his side, but Gozu didn't expect Naruto to fire the blade in his hand through his gut. Gozu staggered as Naruto got free and, using every might that he could muster, Naruto knocked his head off his body. The members were shocked as Naruto blew his head clean off. Naruto then stepped on the ground with such force. However, crystals emerged and one grabbed his feet, crystallizing his goddamn leg as they tried to take over him. Naruto sliced his own leg off as he jumped away. Acid rained into his back, burning him before a massive fireball from the last member, Renji, slammed into him. Their teamwork was impeccable. However, as they waited for the dust to clear the ground, behind that strange blue-looking one erupted. Got you now, Naruto said as he tore him to pieces by literally shoving his hand through his chest. As his fingers tear through the blue substance despite how slippery they were, and he ripped him apart. He screamed the entire time as his blood flashed and spread on Naruto. The other one with the missiles tried to move. However, Naruto moved off. And this time, he brought down his blade with the energy gathered and dropped it. The explosion caused all of them to move. However, the missile launcher did not get too far when Naruto grabbed his head. Applying a great amount of force, Naruto popped it like a goddamn cherry. His body fell down to the ground. The smoke user tried to fire all amount that he could to incapacitate Naruto, but Naruto was literally breathing it in. The pinwheel in his eye had turned once. He understood it now. He screamed as Naruto plunged his hand into his chest and froze him from the inside out, freezing his blood and everything. His body shattered like glass. Gurren and Renji were shocked. A minute, that was all it took for him to slaughter them all. Covered in blood, a smile plastered on his face. Come on now. This was supposed to be an ambush. Please tell me that this is not all you got. Because I'm just getting started, said Naruto. Chakra exploded out of Naruto like a goddamn fountain, spreading and erupting, getting larger and larger as Naruto started to dig deep. His power surged, his power violently ramped up. Gurren slammed her hand down as massive pink crystals tried to impale Naruto, but his chakra reduced them to dust. What? That's impossible, she said. Ranger released a powerful fireball, but it too was left defenseless. Naruto seemed to have grown twice what he normally was, towering over them. Even his voice sounded a bit deeper. Now, let us truly begin, he said. Gurren then remembered what Orochimaru said to her. Flashback. Listen to me. If things become too difficult. But sir, I'm going to listen to me, Orochimaru said. The reason I'm telling you all to kill the moment you see him is because this foe is dangerous than any other. The longer he fights, the stronger he becomes. So if things get too dangerous, do not hesitate to leave. Am I understood? It doesn't matter who you have to sacrifice. He stepped forward and placed a hand on her cheek, causing her to lean into his touch. It was his way of manipulating them. Because out of them all, I care for you the most, he said, caressing her cheek. In the flashback, Gurren kicked Renji in the back, sending him to the slaughter. And she was right because Naruto's blade ripped through Renji's gut like it was paper as she took off. Naruto was about to chase after her until he felt it. A vicious grin crossed his face as he felt the power of another tail beast as he took off in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Sasuke was breathing heavily. He went into this with the expectation that he would come out on top. However, Gaara was a bit stronger than he originally thought, especially while transformed. Gaara was a different breed of monster. Now Sasuke was exhausted, the curse mark fading away. As Gaara jumped towards him, it was over. However, Gaara was sent through 28 trees. You heard that right, 28 trees. As Naruto landed, he hit Gaara so hard that his body was unable to stop itself. Huh, you're not looking so well, Naruto said. Sasuke looked up at the giant as Naruto seemed to have towered over him so far. Don't worry, you did enough. I'll handle the rest. Naruto hit Gaara with so much force that it knocked him out instantly. He couldn't stop himself. The problem was once Gaara fell asleep, the beast emerged. Naruto felt the power as he jumped up to the tallest tree. As he saw the mighty, colossal One Tails. The thing was much taller than the Two Tails. Perhaps it was another sign that she was not in control fully. The One Tails as right now was twice as powerful as the Two Tails. Now that might sound crazy, but it was simple. The One Tails was fully in control, able to use its power at its fullest, while Yujo was only able to use up to 30 or 40%. Therefore, this power was much stronger, much more deadly, and Naruto could feel it. However, unlike most people that would be afraid, given the size, given the sheer power and might, he smiled. Naruto leaned over and started to breathe hard, pushing himself, digging deep and pulling that power out. His eyes started to change color as they became black. That is when the spectral halo pinwheel appeared on top of his head. However, he wasn't done yet as he could feel more coming out and more coming out. Given the fact that he was shirtless, a strange kind of chain appeared right at the collarbone. They seemed to be interlocking with one another. His hair also started to turn white. He was changing, becoming more powerful. The One Tails came to a stop as it felt it and gazed down. What is this? What are you? It said. When Naruto released a violent roar that caught the attention of the great beast even more. His power surged to unbelievable heights as Naruto kept on pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling until he finally reached the limits that he could pull at the moment. Everything about him was different as the true battle of beasts were about to take place. But guys, be inspired right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification say posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.